So good morning, everybody. Very, very warm welcome to all of you to this February Makeup Magic Monday. We thought that it being February, this would be a good opportunity for us to talk to you a little bit about skin rescue. So this is in some ways the sort of towards the end of the winter. So it's a really, really good time to start thinking about our skin, how it's looking, how it's feeling, and also whether we need to do anything special at this time of the year to get it ready really for the springtime. So that's what we're going to concentrate on this morning. The way that we're going to do it is I'm going to hand over to Sally, who's got surrounded by bowls of water so that she can do some procedures and show you the ways that she approaches the subject. And then while she's actually using the mask, she's going to hand back to me. And I want to talk you through all the aspects that I know of anyway that impact on skin. And I want to draw special reference to my own experiences because they are quite dramatic. And actually, in some ways, it's taken me practically my whole life to find out what works for me. So I really would like to share that with you because the revelations that I've had over the last 4 years about my skin have been dramatic and significant, I think. So hopefully that will be useful to you. So I'm going to hand over now to Sally, and she is going to go through, as I said, various procedures with you, talking through ingredients and so on, in order for you to see what's what with her. So Sally, over to you.
Thank you, Tricia. Good morning, everyone. It's lovely to see you all. And yes, I think what I thought I would do today is actually start with my makeup on, so that gives me a chance to show you what I would do right from scratch, and then show you actually me removing the mask too. So Tricia's absolutely right. Winter definitely plays a little bit of havoc with your skin. Cold, dry air can leave the skin quite red and raw. And central heating, if you can afford to put it on these days, also keeps the skin quite dry as well. So I am surrounded. I feel like I'm about to deliver a baby. I've got hot water and towels and bowls here. So the first thing I'm actually going to do is to remove my eye makeup. I've got my eye makeup on and I'm going to use a clean sweep. So I don't know if any of you have tried this, but it's a really lovely, lovely eye makeup remover. It's got two sections to it. I've just shaken it, but there's a sort of an oil section and a water section, but you shake it first, and then you can either use cotton wool pads or I have recently discovered actually reusable makeup. These are cotton and bamboo, just get them online, remover pads. So if you want to be more eco-friendly, you just wash them at 40 degrees, and they've actually got a little bag that you can put them in the washing machine too. So I might take one eye off with this and one eye off with a cotton pad, but I know some ladies don't like using cotton pads because of the little sort of filaments that sometimes get stuck. So give it a shake and pop it. This is the cotton one. Secret with this is to hold it on your eyes just for a few seconds to sort of loosen the eye makeup rather than putting it on and wiping straight away. And then you'll find actually that the makeup comes off really, really, really quickly. So it's sort of counterintuitive. You want to sort of get it off quickly, but you'd want to rub your eyes as little as possible because the skin around the eyes is so thin. So actually, I actually find these cotton bamboo pads are really gentle on the skin, on the eyes. This product is amazing because I've used before products that have got a lot of oil in them and they've actually irritated my eyes. But this one, although it's oily, it's a sort of a nourishing oil. So the ingredients are quite incredible. It's got daisy flower extract, and that is a product that helps to brighten the skin, and it's also good for sensitive eyes. So I'm just using the cotton pad on the other one. So just take a little bit up, again, holding it on for a few seconds. So daisy flower extract. It's got also vitamin E, grape leaf, thyme leaf, lemon peel, fennel seed. I feel like I'm in a Mediterranean restaurant actually, but it's really good if you've got sensitive eyes. And what I love about it is it's actually very, very nourishing on the, you see it's coming off really well, on the lashes. So if you've got sort of fine, sparse lashes, this is a great product if you wear eye makeup because it will condition your lashes as well as getting your mascara off. It takes off waterproof mascara as well. So if you use the Look Fabulous Forever waterproof mascara, it will take that off beautifully. So you see it's coming off really well. And I then tend to just sort of go on the base of the lashes just to get the last bit off. If you wear Bring Back Brow, it's also great at, in fact, I'll just take a little bit of my brow. I put a bit of Bring Back Brow in the blonde one today. So I'm just going to take that off as well. And that comes off too. So that's the first thing I do. Take my eyes off. Ready to go. Okay, next stage is to get my face makeup off. And if you're wearing lipstick, I always like to actually get my lips off before. So I'm going to be using, what I'm going to do is fill my bowl with water in preparation. So I haven't got really hot water, just warm water. And that's quite important, particularly in the winter. You don't want to use really hot water on your face. Keep it sort of nice, warm water will get the cleanser off. So I am going to use Perfectly Clean. Again, I really like this cleanser because I love packaging. It sits really nicely in my bathroom, but I also like the texture. It's quite a creamy cleanser without being too thick. So I'm going to just put a little bit, first of all, on my lips, just to get my lipstick off. Comes off really well. Okay, down there. So I put it on with my fingers and then I take it off with a flannel. So I use probably about that much on my fingers, obviously clean hands. And I've just lost the screen here. Right, pop it on. And I just sort of massage it in. It's really nice because, again, grape leaf, olive, lemon, fennel, thyme, prickly pear, which actually hydrates the skin. So it's actually a really hydrating cleanser. If you're a sort of soap and water lady, you can just think of it as a really nice, good for you soap and water. What I then do is take a clean flannel and put it into, just run it under warm water, squeeze it out. I like to use a flannel because it has the effect of gently exfoliating as well. And it's obviously not using lots of cotton wool pads. It's a bit faffier using cotton wool pads, but I literally just take my flannel and wipe all the makeup off. And it does it really, really well. You can see makeup coming off. The cleanser is very effective. If you wear a lot of makeup, I sometimes in the evening do a double cleanse. I will cleanse, then I'll put another layer on. And if I'm going to do a little bit of a massage with the cleanser, I might sort of massage on the second cleanse. I don't want to be massaging makeup into my face, but I also massage a little bit when I put my moisturizer on, just to stimulate the circulation. Really important to cleanse before you put the mask on, even if you're not wearing makeup, because we live in a polluted world, unfortunately. There's grime and pollution out there. So even if you're not a makeup wearer, I would definitely use a cleanser before putting the mask on. If you use an exfoliant, and I'm very excited because I think that Look Fabulous Forever are bringing out quite soon their own exfoliant, I would then actually do that at this stage. So I would use a little bit as exfoliant too to get rid of any dead skin cells, although the clay mask does that as well. But just to really make your skin, make the mask work as best as it can, cleansing, exfoliating, or using a flannel is really good. So what I'm going to do now, just going to pat my face dry. And we are ready to use the Hydrating Clay Mask. Very excited when this came out. So this is the mask. So it's a little bit you think counter hydrating and clay, it's quite a unique mask. I've used masks before that are clay, that have made my skin feel really, really tight and taut and actually quite dry afterwards. And I've used masks that are very hydrating, that are very, very creamy. This is kind of the best of both worlds. So it will hydrate and nourish your skin, but it will also deep cleanse it and get rid of dead skin cells. So how do we use it? So what I suggest you do, just sort of squeeze it and shake it a little bit, because the beauty of the mask is it's got the kaolin in it, but it's also got sweet almond oil and it's got olive fruit oil. So if just make sure it's shaken and well put together, because occasionally if you open it, a little bit of oil will run out, but if you squeeze it a bit, that doesn't happen. It's got aloe vera in it, which obviously moisturizes the skin, and it's got ceramide. Now, what are ceramide, you might ask? They are actually long chain fatty acid lipids that will lock in and help our natural skin barrier to sort of lock in moisture. So that's why it's so good. And we naturally have ceramides in sort of, they make up 50% of our skin composition to form its natural barrier. So here we go. I'm going to put some just on my hand. You don't need very much. So it's pink, pretty color. And I'm going to pop it on all over the face, but not on my lips and not on my eyes. More just to show you. And a thin layer is all you need. So it spreads beautifully. And you can actually feel it tightening the pores while you go on, but not in a nasty sort of really tightening way, but you can feel it's doing something, which is always good. So it's just a very sort of light pink. Make sure you get it round the nose. And I would suggest you leave it on for up to 10 minutes. My suggestion when you put a mask on is to maybe to put some lip balm on as well, and put some nice music on, sit down with a nice cup of tea or herbal tea or something, and just relax. You can even put some eye mask on. You can put some cucumber on your eyes, or tea bags, or an eye mask or something, and just actually sit down, because how often do we do that? How often do we give ourselves permission to actually relax? So you can do that, and you can use the mask morning or evening before you go to bed, or in the morning, whenever suits you. And I would also suggest once or twice a week. So I am just going to leave that on. I'm going to set a timer now. I think I've told you everything that's in it. So kaolin, sweet almond oil, olive fruit oil. So what the kaolin does is that's the detox, and it sort of removes the impurities, and helps with also redness or irritation. Really good if you've got a sensitive skin too. So don't be frightened to use this. It's a calming mask. And as I said, the almond oil and the olive oil is to reduce the appearance of fine lines and smooth and sort of moisturize the skin. So I am going to set my timer for 10 minutes, and I'm going to hand back to Tricia, and then I will remove it. So thank you.
Thanks, Sally. That was brilliant. I just want to spend the next 10 minutes of you also with you talking about, well, my journey with my own skin. And also, I did an awful lot of research when I was thinking about developing a skincare regime for Look Fabulous Forever. When I first started the business, I knew that I wanted it to be a makeup company first and foremost. And the reason for that is that makeup is instant. It either works or it doesn't. You put it on, you look good, or you don't. The colors work or they don't. And I like the idea that I could promote and sell and make videos and also show people how to do the very best that they could do in terms of using makeup and it working well on their older face. So I love the idea of makeup because it is, as I said, it's instant. It takes about 5 to 10, possibly 15 minutes, and you go from looking quite pale and wan to looking, hopefully, a heck of a lot better And then as I started to get into the whole business of beauty and learn more and more and more, and then when I wanted to write my book, Living the Life More Fabulous, I decided that skincare was also an incredibly important subject for older women. In fact, it's probably the one thing about your face that you worry about most, your skin, because it's the place where you can see the aging process actually happening. We know about wrinkles, we know about sagging, you know, I've got them, the dreaded jowls and all that kind of stuff. So it's pretty obvious that the older you get, the more concerned you might be or become about how your skin is looking. So I then, as I said, I started to do lots of reading and research about it, talking to people. And also I had this particular experience with my own skin, which I'll come to very shortly. But one of the things that I learned about skin is that it is an incredible barometer of health and well-being. You know, when somebody isn't very well, you'll look at them and you'll say, you don't look very well. And it's usually their faces that you're looking at. Now, they might be a bit paler than normal. They might have heavy bags under their eyes. Their eyes might look different somehow, but you just know, don't you? If somebody isn't very well, you look at their face and you say, you don't look very well. So it's a very big barometer of health. And obviously everything that you can do to support your health will make a difference to how your skin looks. That's, you know, it's a pretty obvious thing to say, but it is true. So how do you support your health in the best possible way? Well, you support your health by exercising. Exercising is good because it brings blood to the surface of the skin. There's a third layer, there's 3 layers to the skin. There's the epidermis, the outer layer that you can see, the dermis, the supporting scaffolding layer, and then there's the hypodermis, which is where the blood vessels are. And obviously if you bring blood to the skin, then that is helpful and beneficial, which exercise does. What's my other list of things here? That when you, sleep. Yeah, sleep. Sleep is incredibly important to the skin. And again, because rest and actually having a proper night's sleep, it's called beauty sleep. And it's called beauty sleep because you wake up and your skin will look better and it will perform better. But even relaxation processes, if you don't sleep very well, just lying and completely relaxing, you know, Sally was saying, put a 10-minute mask on and go off and have a deep relaxation, that will help. So anything that you can do in the way of rest and the restorative aspect of rest is incredibly important. I'm going to mention a couple of things that are very, very definitely bad for your skin. One is smoking and the other is drinking. Sorry, big party pooper me. But if you do smoke, not many people of our generation, I think, do smoke anymore, although we may once have done so. But the thing about smoking is that a smoker, in terms of the appearance of the skin, will look 10 years older than their chronological age, than the age of their skin. And that's because smoking really does have quite a damaging effect on the way that the skin is nourished from within. The same with alcohol. Alcohol is something which robs your skin of various vitamins that it needs. I've written some of the things down here if I can find it. I'm actually getting this from my book, would you believe, which is where I did all the research for. So alcohol, this impairs the absorption of vitamins A, D, and E. It dehydrates the skin and dilates the blood vessels to make the skin look red and puffy. I mean, I think in the red and puffy, we're talking about quite excessive intake of alcohol. So I'm not assuming the odd glass of wine isn't going to hurt you at all. Of course it isn't. But if you do drink alcohol regularly, then that can obviously have a damaging effect on the skin. And we all know about sun. We know that about 80% of the damage done to your skin by the time you're our age has been done by exposure to the sun. So protecting it going forward is obviously incredibly important. So I've talked a little bit about exercise, I've talked a little bit about sleep. Sally's talked about cleansing, how important that is to keep the skin nice and clean, free of pollution, free of dirt, you know, free of all the things that accumulate on your skin. Obviously, she's going to come on to talk a bit more about moisturizing and some of the ways that that the ingredients are important in that, and also exfoliation. Now, I want to come on to the thing that I think is one of the most significant of all, and it is particularly for me, and that is diet. So I've got Emily, my trusty assistant, and she's going to show you an horrific photograph of me. Some of you will have seen this in a blog that I wrote 2 or 3 weeks ago, but it's still worth looking at, I think. So Emily, can you put that up somehow? So can you imagine the despair that I felt on the mornings that I got up and looked in the mirror and saw that? Now, a lot of people would say to me, oh, Tricia, you've got lovely skin, even when my skin was like that. And I used to get away with it because I was really, really good at applying makeup in order to camouflage the worst effects of that skin problem that I had. So it wasn't something that profoundly bothered me day to day, in the sense that as soon as I've got my face on, as soon as I've got my concealer beautifully applied with a little bit of translucent powder over the top, I could, for the most part, get away with having skin as bad as that. I knew how to cover it up. But it was horrible to live with it, because I would go through periods when it would sort of clear a bit, and then I'd have a flare up, and that would be a good example of a flare up. And those flare ups, I would be in pain, because those spots weren't just neutral things on my skin. They were actually very painful, and I would get lumps and they would hurt. And I would know not to, squeeze the spots, that would make them worse. So I knew that my skin would have to reabsorb them somehow. And I was in despair. Now, I just put it down to a thing that I have to put up with. I don't know why. I never consulted a dermatologist. I'd had that problem for a long time, since my teens, and gone through various iterations of it. And then in my postmenopausal phase, it turned into a form of acne rosacea. I tried every lotion potion known to man. I went to the Clinique counter and before we created our own range, and I just got a computer to measure my skin and look at it, and she gave me 5 products and do this and do that and do the other. Nothing worked, and I was in despair. And then when I started working with Lindsay Burrows, my lovely personal trainer, and I started to get fit, she started to give me, she didn't give me grief because she's not that kind of person, but she started to question my diet. And she said to me, Tricia, your diet, you think it's healthy because you eat quite a lot of fruit and you do eat quite a lot of vegetables, but it really isn't very healthy. I was eating quite a lot of ready meals. I'm an incredibly bad cook and very lazy cook, so I would often eat, but I used to think, well, I'm eating Marks and Spencer's ready meals, they must be better. Because they cost more. Anyway, they were still full of all sorts of things. And she said, the trouble is, Trish, they're still made in a factory. They're not made from fresh. They're not what you are. You have no control of what's in them, and there'll be all sorts of things in there that you will not know about. Anyway, she really made me understand, and I started to think, okay, I've got to do something about this. So I started to change my diet quite radically. I cut out a huge amount. She particularly wanted me to cut out sugar. So I started to cut out sugar big time. I mean, no sugar in tea, no biscuits, no cakes. I was known as Granny Cake to my grandchildren because I would appear at 4 o'clock with a cake, with cake for us all and tea. I cut out the cake. I cut out desserts after my meal. I would have ice cream most days. I loved ice cream. So I started to look at that side of my diet and cut it out. And I also cut out bread, because I would eat bread at lunchtime, often with a bowl of often soup that I bought from Marks and Spencer's. So again, not fresh soup, but soup that I was buying. And as I started to cut it out, I started to notice something happening on my skin. So Emily, second picture, please. So this is me after probably about 3 months in to the diet, to the new diet, the very radically reduced amount. I was looking at gluten and sugar basically. And you can see that now, instead of that redness and rawness and angry looking skin, my skin is still a bit spotty, but it's actually a lot clearer, and it's definitely less painful. None of those really angry, nasty spots. And if you'd then like to go to the final one, Emily, we'll look at that. So this is my epiphany, basically, my complete epiphany. And what I love about it is that it has given me back my confidence to know that I'm never going to go back to that terrible first picture with my skin in that dreadful, dreadful state. It's just not going to happen, because do you know what, 3 weeks ago, and this is the absolute God honest truth, I went to have supper, Sunday roast with my daughter and grandchildren, and Anna had done, after the roast, she'd done some sticky toffee pudding, little individual ones, absolutely delicious. And I nearly said no, and I thought, oh, to hell with it. You know, I love sticky toffee pudding and ice cream, and I ate it. 3 days later, I had this lump appear here, and it was so painful, I can't tell you. So a combination of gluten, which would have been in the pudding, and also the very, very high level of sugar. The spot came up. It took about a week to go. Lots of concealer again. Nobody knew I had a spot there. And I just thought, there you go, you learnt your lesson. So for me, this whole thing about the impact, somebody said to me once, it's so true. If you take a dog to the vet, the first thing the vet says is, what are you feeding him? And it's true, you know, if there's something wrong with your dog, it's probably maybe, or there's a good chance, according to the vet, that there'll be something wrong with his diet, his or her diet. So we, I think, need to become very, very, very aware of what is in our food. I read a really interesting article. How are we doing for time? Is Sally's 10 minutes nearly up?
It's gone. It's all right, but I'm still here.
I did warn Sally that I would probably go over the 10 minutes, but I'll go back to Sally very shortly. I just want to say this. There's a very, very interesting article. If any of you get the Saturday Times, it's by Michael Mosley, Dr. Michael Mosley, who I really rate. And I've got his diet book, which is called the 800 Fast Diet. And I eat a huge amount of food out of that. I don't do the 800 calorie fast ever. I don't need to, I don't want to, but the recipes in it are fantastic. And I love all the food I cook from it. So I really rate Dr. Michael Mosley. By the way, the thing that I follow is high protein, low carbohydrate and low sugar. And there's lots of fruit and vegetables. There's lots of good protein, and it makes me satisfied, and I'm very happy on it. So Michael Mosley, article in the Saturday Times, and he was talking about how far from nature a huge amount of the food that we see in the supermarkets has come. I always think, if you go into the supermarket, you've got that bank of vegetables, that bank of fruit, and they know that they put it there on purpose. It's all done and calculated scientifically, because we see it and we think healthy, we think, you know, good food, all that stuff like that. And then the rest of this vast warehouse of food is denatured, processed stuff that is packed with all the cheap things that food manufacturers can get their hands on. And it's flavored with salt and sugar to make it taste good. Not only does, and there's two problems with it. One, it tastes good, so it's moreish, but it's very profoundly unsatisfying from the point of view of your body's needs and nutrition. So it makes you hungry very quickly, so you eat more of it. So people who live their lives on that kind of food, and I'm including things like pizzas and, you know, I need to tell you, do I? I'm turning into like I'm being a very judgmental and preachy person, but you really do have to think about it. So I try as far as I possibly can now to eat food that I can recognize as coming out of, having come out of the ground like that, or that it's actually in its purest form, let's put it that way. So, and the proof for me, and I hope for you as well, and you can see very profoundly, has been on the effect and impact on my skin. So I'm going to go back to Sally, and we're now going to end up by talking about, okay, we're talking about the inside and the outside. Now the outside, you can't deeply affect the dermis, the scaffolding bit, but you can very profoundly affect the epidermis, the outside bit. And that's what we're doing in everything that Sally's showing you. So back to you, Sally.
Thank you, Tricia. That was incredible, and what a testimony, and yeah, amazing. So Okay, I've had my mask on for over 10 minutes now, so I'm still okay. It's still all right. I'm going to just take it off. I've got, again, warm water, flannel, and I'm just going to take my mask off. And what's interesting, as I said before, when I've used clay masks in the past, this is the point when I've taken them off that my skin feels really taut and a little bit tight. But with this mask, it doesn't. Your skin actually feels very moist and really smooth and hydrated. A little bit pink now as I'm just a little bit more water, squeeze it out. I did a little practice run on this over the weekend just to make sure I could get the bowls of water in the room without ruining my keyboard. So I've done this twice quite recently, so my skin is going to be really nice this week. And the other thing I've noticed is when I put my makeup on after doing it, my makeup goes on so much better because obviously it's taken away a few of the dead skin cells and just made it pure, more pure. So, which means your makeup goes on better. So there we go. Again, I'm just going to pat my skin dry. I think it's all off. Because I haven't put it on thickly, it doesn't take a lot of effort to get it off. Right, so skin has had the mask on. What I'm going to use now, before I use this before day moisturizer or before night moisturizer, is the Hydration Hold Serum. So again, if you haven't tried this, it's a wonderful product. It has changed consistency. It's now a little bit runnier than it was, but it works for me. I actually quite like it because I can spread it on really well. So it's got a little pipette. So you just take up on the pipette. I tend to put it on my hand and then just pop it on. So what this is, I call it a moisture magnet. It contains 2.5% of hyaluronic acid. And that's it's something that it's an acid of a low molecular weight. So therefore it penetrates the skin. And what it does, each molecule of hyaluronic acid can bind itself, bind over 1,000 times water to its molecules, so its weight in water. So it will attract anything that you put on top of it. So if you're going to put your moisturizer on top of it, it means it sort of goes a little bit deeper and works well and just locks the moisture in. So, and it's not drying. Pop that on first. Then I'm going to today use because it's daytime, the Smooth the Face Day Cream. So again, a lovely, lovely product. It is, I'm just going to pop a little bit on. You don't need loads. It's got vitamins A, C, E, and F. So all antioxidants. Vitamin A, which is also known as retinol palmitate, which becomes a gentle form of retinol, which is really, really important to help misbehaving cells start to reproduce collagen. So it's really good for more mature skins to use a product that has got retinol. So you can see it's got a sun protection factor of 10 UVA and UVB. So I just pat it on. I'm going to put a little bit. Don't forget your neck and your décolletage. Really wish I had done this when I was much younger. I used to just moisturize my face and forgot to do anything lower. So really, really important. What I would then do if I'm putting my makeup on is I always wait just a few minutes for the moisturizer to sink in before I put my face prime on. I would brush my teeth or do my hair or do something else before I get to that point. So I think there was a question a little bit about when would you put sunscreen on at this point. So depends again, I think we've had this question before, whether you're using a physical or a chemical sunscreen. But what I do is I put my Hydration Hold Serum on first, then I do my moisturizer, then I would put my sun cream on, and then I would do my face prime and my makeup. That's the order that I do. Yeah, I think that was, or what I was going to say is if you haven't tried any of the skincare, it's worth looking on Look Fabulous's website because they do collections of skincare where you can actually get saved. It's 16 to 20% savings discount if you buy things in sort of bundles, and there's various different collections you can look at, and I think you get a really nice makeup bag with it too. So if you haven't tried the skincare, really recommend it. At night, again, I would do the whole process that we used just now, but I would obviously use the Deeply Dreamy night cream instead. And that again has got more hyaluronic acid, it's got vitamin E, it's not too greasy, it's really nice and moisturizing. And again, you don't need very much of any of the products, so you don't need to slather it on. But my skin does feel really smooth. I mean, I've had it on for more than 10 minutes, as you know, but it feels really good. And I feel like I'm ready to put my makeup on and face the day. So I hope that was helpful.
Lovely, Sally. That was really good. Thank you very much indeed.
Might take this off now. Oh, nice hair.
That was fantastic. A really great demonstration. Also, just a couple of things about skincare in terms of our skincare. So when we were developing it, so we decided that we would add skincare to the range. It was very clear that if we were going to be selling makeup specifically to older women, that one of their principal concerns, which we got from various research that we did, was with their skin. So it was logical, therefore, to add skincare. Now, believe it or not, because I had such challenging and difficult skin, I was quite reluctant to try the products that they were sending me, because I just kept thinking, look, I'm happy. I was using something called Dr. Perricone. It was called, what was it called? Something, it was £60 a pot. And I bought it because it was made by a doctor. And I kept thinking, well, I've got the sort of skin that needs something that's medical almost. And it suited my skin. It was, my skin seemed to be happy with this cream on, even though it was unhappy because of the diet that I'd got. So believe it or not, as I said, we started to develop this stuff, when I started to work very closely with the biochemist who's working with us. But what was important to me was obviously that when I got the skincare, it would sit happily on my skin and would actually be okay, that my skin would be happy with it, it would absorb it well, and all the things that you want from good skincare. So we had issues with the SPF, and I will just explain to you quickly what they were, because Sally just mentioned we can claim 10 SPF. It is actually higher, but we can only claim 10. They're very strict about what you can claim in terms of SPF. Now, SPF is created within a cream with something called titanium oxide, which is the thing that gives you the screening. So it stops the sun penetrating the skin. The trouble is, titanium oxide is very white. So he started off by giving us, high SPF, like 50 or something like that. And honestly, it looked like I'd got lard on my face. So it was impossible to put makeup on top, because I would just look like a ghost. So I kept throwing them back and saying, no, they can't have this. This is awful. And actually that process of that we went through, it was about 18 months, nearly 2 years before we actually had a range that we wanted to sell. Was a question of a balance between some SPF at least, and then the acceptability of the actual product that we were producing. We would like it to be higher, and we are looking at something called SPF drops. We have been looking at those, whether we could add those into foundation. We are slightly on hold with that at the moment. Just a bit of an update. We've got in production at the moment, we've got a hand cream. Why a hand cream? Well, again, through research, you are very concerned about age spots and the fact that your hands get quite dry. So we've developed a hand cream which has got vitamin C in it, which is very good for reducing age spots on the back of your hand. Is very emollient and so on. We're hoping that will promote that. We'll have that ready to promote and for some of you to test for us in the spring. And we've also got a really nice exfoliator, which again will be a springtime product. Very excited about that, because exfoliation along with a mask, if you exfoliate and then apply a mask, that's a really good way to get rid of the dead skin cells on your face with the exfoliation. And then the mask, the clay mask that we've got, is wonderful for slightly tightening the skin and also moisturizing and leaving lovely and soft, which is what it does. So we've got that, and we've got in the pipeline, so that's much longer time. We've got a neck and décolleté gel, which again we're looking at, we're testing and thinking about for the future. So we've got all sorts of things in the pipeline. We've also, you might be interested, we're getting, I'm not sure when that will be, possibly in the summertime, we've got a hair care range that we're going to introduce. I've been testing the products and I love them. So it's volumizing shampoo, volumizing conditioner, and a wonderful volumizing root spray. In fact, I've just run out of the tester that I've been using. I've had a full bottle and I'm devastated that I've run out because I love it. It's just brilliant. So that's something that again is in the pipeline. Hopefully you're interested in the ways that we're thinking about you and thinking about the things that you might like to have. So let me go to Emily and see if there are any questions that have come up that you want specifically answered now.
Yes, of course. Oh, Sally, could you give us the details of the cotton bamboo pads that you used?
Yes, they're county sales from Lancashire, Burnley and Lancashire. I think I got them online. CS County Sales. They are reusable, vegan, bamboo and cotton. I don't know if you can see that. Do you want me to, I can't remember. I think I either got them on Amazon or somewhere, but I can send you the details, Emily. Shall I do that?
Yeah, if you send me the links, then I'll put it in the description of the YouTube video and then everyone can just access it from there.
Okay. But what I like is the fact you've got the little bag so you can wash them in the washing machine sort of separately. Yeah, but they're brilliant.
Perfect. And Sally and Tricia, what is your opinion of micellar water?
The thing about I think it's pronounced micellar water. I don't know. Who knows? I think that's what they call it on the telly. And every time I see it advertised, I think, oh, is that how you say it? Because I have no idea. I used to use, and you know, I'm talking about 5-6 years ago, I used to use an all-in-one cleanser from Clarins. It was orange in colour, so it was very definitely a watery based cleanser, I think very similar to micellar water. And I used to use it because I was incredibly lazy, and I'd go and get some cotton pads in my cleanser and sit in front of the television and take my makeup off. And it meant I didn't have to go in the bathroom. I didn't have to, you know, fill a basin full of water, and I was very lazy. And I had really awful skin. So my skin, I think, was pretty much awful because of the diet, but I think I wasn't actually getting it very clean with this stuff. So I don't like that kind of cleansing process for older skin, because I think it's wonderful for younger skin. I think it's fine for younger skin. And the reason, what is the biggest difference between young skin and old skin? And it is hydration, moisture. Older skin, postmenopausal, becomes very, very much more dehydrated. So I think if you've got really good young skin, sweeping that stuff over and ridding your face of the makeup is good. But I now feel that when I take my makeup off using a creamy cleanser and making sure that that really dissolves all the makeup and gunk and dirt, pollution, everything I've got on my face from the day, that I'm actually giving my skin the most softening, creamy benefits that I can give it. And then using a flannel, actually water, proper water that comes out of a tap. One of the people that I interviewed for my book is, she's a French woman, she's one of the country's leading authorities on skincare. Amazing woman. She's a consultant to a lot of the big brands, and you know, there is nothing that she doesn't know. And the first thing she said to me when I sat down, she said, how do you cleanse your face? And at the time I was using a creamy cleanser, so I told her, and I said, and I use a clean flannel washcloth and water. And she said, right answer. She said, the best thing that you can use on your face, on your skin, to get it clean is water. And if you think about it, you shower, I'm assuming, or bath every day to wash the rest of your body and the rest of your skin with water. You wouldn't dream of wiping it all over with a pad with micellar water, would you? You use water. So the logic for me is to use that creamy product to dissolve all stuff that you want to get rid of on your face, and then use water to make sure that it is then perfectly clean. I buy white flannels, and when you use a white flannel, you can really see that your face is clean. So that's my answer. I don't think Mr. Water is suitable for older skin personally, but if you use it and you like it, who am I to say?
Perfect. Sally, do you have anything to add? I think that's covered really, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I would only use it if I couldn't have access to water as an emergency. And I think a lot of makeup artists use it backstage, but it is not quicker, really, I don't think. I personally find you have to keep wiping it off. It's a mixture of oil and water. A lot of either micellar, however you say it, waters do contain more chemicals and more fragrances, and therefore I think can upset sensitive skin. And I go into schools and talk to young girls, and I tell them actually not to use wipes and not to use micellar water. I tell them to stick with proper cleansers and clean flannels every day. So I totally agree with Tricia, actually. Use it in emergencies, but you will get a better effect, and particularly for older skin, if you're using a proper good creamy cleanser with water and a nice clean warm flannel. Well, warm water and a flannel.
Yeah, I support what Sally said. If say you're in hospital, God forbid, or you're traveling and you just need something, that's better than nothing. It's definitely better than nothing. But if you've got access to water and you've got your normal, I would say for routine use, stick with something that is going to give your skin benefits rather than take benefits away from your skin.
Perfect, thank you. And Sarah asks, skin peels. I've heard that skin peeling is very damaging in the long run for your skin. Is this true? Do you guys know much about skin peels?
I've never had a skin peel. Are we talking about dermabrasion type stuff? I don't know.
I think that, so The Ordinary have a really popular skin peel at the moment, which is AHA and BHA chemicals.
Okay.
I personally think with anything like a skin peel where they're being marketed as professional strength and high clinical, you have to be a little bit wary if you're doing it yourself, because we know that nothing wrong with marketeers, Emily, but sometimes products like that, I think you are better to go to somebody that you totally trust, that is totally trained in using skin peels, rather than just going online and buying things and using them, because they can make your skin incredibly sensitive, particularly if you have got sensitive skin. They can make your skin look very red, and you can then go out in the sun and do all sorts of damage. So I've not used them. I've personally find using exfoliants and masks and serums and good moisturizers for me is enough, but I would just be a little bit wary of just rushing out and putting things on your face without getting any professional advice on it. That would be my answer to that one.
Yeah, if I come here, AHAs are alpha hydroxy acids, and they're often fruit-based. So there are acids in fruits which are often put into these products in order to I'm assuming that they used skin peels are used for getting rid of dead skin cells and stuff like that. But I tend to agree. I don't use them, and I tend to agree with Sally. I think the exfoliation, gentle exfoliation, none of those really harsh ones. Really gentle exfoliation is all you need. Remember that older skin is more is thinner, it's softer, it's much more vulnerable than younger skin. So I would say, again, for an older skin, treat your skin with care. I saw a question come up. Did I lose weight? Tricia, did I lose weight? I did a bit. I tell you what, I lost my stomach. Once I stopped eating so much carbohydrate and sugar, my tummy, I've never had a very big tummy because I'm hippie, and if you're pear-shaped, you don't tend to get a big stomach, so I'm not apple-shaped, but I definitely had a stomach. And I found that as soon as I started eating that different form of diet, my tummy shrunk, so it went quite flat. So that was a big advantage. And I probably lost, I don't weigh myself and haven't weighed myself for about 30 years, so I have absolutely no idea whether I lost weight, but I definitely felt more comfortable in my trousers and things. That's a good sign. So yes, I did lose a bit of weight. I think that was inevitable because I really had cut out quite a lot of rubbish.
Great. And Caroline asks about eye cream. Sally, do you want to just run through when you would put eye cream on?
Yes, I use eye cream at night. So this is the Night Revive eye cream in the Look Fabulous range, and that is brilliant. Again, it's got more of the hyaluronic acid in it that we talked about with the serum. It's got vitamins A, C, E, B3, and it's just really not, it's not greasy, so you don't need very much, and I'll demonstrate it now. I take probably that much and just literally dot it on my orbit of my eye. You don't need to put it on your eyelid, but just around here. And I do it at night so that it works its magic at night, rather than putting the night cream really close to the eye. This is specifically made for the finer skin. It's about a sixth as thin around the eye, and it's brilliant actually. So I'm a great believer in eye cream, because particularly if you're going to be using concealer, if you have dryness around this area, concealer never looks as good. Drinking lots of water and using a good eye cream, keeping your skin moist, means that you will not get concealer caking into fine lines around the eyes, which I've got lots of fine lines around my eyes. But I find if I keep them hydrated with the eye cream at night, using it at night, it makes a massive difference the next day.
Great, thank you. And then someone's also asked about toner. What do you think on using toner?
It's interesting. We used to say, didn't we always, it was the three thing you used to say: cleanse, tone, moisturize. Was it cleanse, moisturize, tone? I can't remember. I think it was cleanse, tone, moisturize. I think you need toners when you've got greasy skin and you're prone to spots, and the reason for that is that toners tend to dry, to help to dry up the oiliness that you have on your face if you've got an oily face. And I think that when I was a lot younger, toners were promoted and used more by people who had oily skin than those that had dry or combination skin. Or if you had combination skin, then you tended to have an oily T-zone, and you just use the toner on that. We don't sell a toner, and I don't recommend toners for older skin, and because I don't think that you're likely to have the sort of excess oil that you need with a toner. I could be wrong, and if you find that a toner works for you, then I'd say fine, but I don't use one, and I don't feel the need for one. And I think toners were thought to rebalance or something like that. I don't know. I honestly don't know an awful lot about toners, but
Sorry.
Yeah, Sally, go on.
No, I was going to say, somebody has actually written in the chat about rose water. I actually love rose water on older skin as a toner. I quite agree with June on that one. And a lot of the younger girls now, toners now have changed to become, I've got one that, Glow Tonic, that have got glycolic acid in them. So they are using them to actually help with blocked pores and getting rid of blackheads and things like that. So I think as you get older, definitely I would agree with Tricia, there's not so much, I don't personally feel so much need to use that type of toner on my skin now. But if you like the sort of spritz of a rose water, I think that's quite nice to do before you, after you've cleansed, but before you do your serum and your moisturizer.
Thank you, Sally.
And then just one last question. Somebody asked whether you need to wait for the serum to dry before putting your moisturizer on, but it doesn't really dry, does it?
Not really. Once I've put it on, by the time I've got to my pot of moisturizer, I find I don't really wait. The time to wait is definitely after you've done your moisturizer, before you put your primer, your face primer on. That is the time when you really do need to leave a few minutes for your moisturizer to sink in, I would say. Would you agree, Tricia?
I totally agree. So what I do is I put with the pipette on the back of the hand and then spread it over my face quite lightly and evenly, and then put my moisturizer on almost straight away. And I think the reason for that is that Sally said that the moisturizer has a very, very good concentration of hyaluronic acid in it, this thing that holds 1,000 times its weight in water. Hyaluronic acid is something that's naturally occurring throughout the body. It's in our joints, in tendons. It's also in our eyes. It's in various parts of our body that need moisture to work. It's a bit like oiling the joint of your joints. It's a bit like oiling a creaky door. So it's very, very important and naturally occurring substance in the body. And the reason that it's been taken by skincare developers is because they discovered that it acts like a sponge, a very powerful sponge on the face. So if you think you're putting this very fine layer of, you know, like a lovely spongy substance with the serum, and then you put your moisture on the top, that is actually then holding that moisture on your face for hours on end. And if you don't use a serum, or you don't use a moisturizer with hyaluronic acid in it, then what happens is that moisture will go into your skin, especially if it's very dry, your skin, it'll suck into your skin and disappear, because the skin is really thirsty for it. So by putting the serum on first, you actually hold the moisture on your skin for longer. And of course, it makes your makeup look better for longer. In fact, you'll make your makeup look as good until, you know, till you go to bed, because actually what it's doing there, it's actually forming this lovely moisture attracting surface on the skin. And then your foundation looks good because it's actually on this very nice moisturized surface. So it's a kind of win-win really for that. And that's why you would use a serum. It's a very useful thing to have on an older skin. Emily, anything?
I think that's pretty much all we've got time for. So thank you very much to both of you.
Okay, well, we've come to the end of our hour. Hopefully that's been a beneficial and useful and interesting hour for all of you. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you so much for watching and being with us. Lovely, lovely, lovely to have your company, as always. Thank you, Sally.